Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Downtown Dish. This is a special episode. It is our first all restaurant episode of the Downtown Dish, and we have got such a fun lineup. You are going to hear today from David Lopez, General Manager of Manny's and also the Vice President of the Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association. Executive Chef at the Majestic, Liz Huffman, is going to check in. And I'm so excited about this. We are going to welcome Sig Tomeldan, a 5-year downtown resident. He's actually one of my Twitter friends, and we have not yet met in real life, but he is always out eating, drinking, having fun, and so we're going to get his first-person perspective. As always, huge thanks to our partners for making the Downtown Dish happen every single week. KC Streetcar, Downtown Council, Kansas City Downtown Neighborhood Association, and Linchpin Ideas. Wanted to send a huge thank you to this week's featured musician. We are listening to the song How Much Longer. It's currently unreleased, and it was written by Tim Blackfingers Ogutu. Tim actually wrote this song. I'm sure a lot of us can relate. During the stay-at-home orders, really missing being out with friends and family, and just kind of wondering how long is this all going to go on. This song is currently unreleased, but he does have plans to release it soon. Tim is an 11-year guitar player. He also has experience with the bass, keyboards, and drums. And as the live music scene here in Kansas City continues to get back on its feet, you can catch Tim playing as a freelance musician with a lot of local musicians around the city. Tim, thanks for sharing your music with us. All right, I hope you're hungry. It's time to get into our all restaurant episode of the Downtown Dish. Wanted to start with a shout out. If you're feeling like an incredible sandwich, you got to get to the Bite inside the city market. They are reopened. They offer pickup service, and they do have delivery. They have got some seating outside there in the city market area, so you can't quite sit inside the restaurant yet, but you can grab your food, have a little picnic, check out that incredible sculptural city market signage. So definitely head to the Bite, give them a follow on social for news and updates, and enjoy your meal. Thank you so much for joining us this week on our first all restaurant episode of the Downtown Dish, and I am so excited to welcome David Lopez, General Manager at Manny's, also the Vice President of the Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association. David, welcome to the Dish.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be on here. It's a privilege to speak with you, and I'm always excited to represent the GKCRA, and I'm always happy, of course, to represent my family and my staff here at Manny's Restaurant.
Well, I think I told you in an email, but let's just get this on the table. So I love Manny's so much that my husband and I had our rehearsal dinner there upstairs. It was 2010. It's been a little bit, but love you guys, love your food, love your family. So yeah, great to see you today.
And I appreciate that so much. You know, we are so blessed to be a part of the tapestry of so many wonderful people's stories, their families, their significant others. It just means so much to us, and we're so excited to have the opportunity to open our doors again finally and let people walk through and to let people come in, and just to have human interaction is very underrated, right? And you start to value it when you realize how much you miss it, and especially when you're in the industry that I'm so fortunate to be in.
Absolutely, and that's a perfect way to start. I want to kind of start a little more hyper locally with you and talk about Manny's. How's everybody doing there? How is reopening coming? Like, kind of what's the status? Give us the scoop.
You know, we are doing very well. We never had to close our doors throughout this entire pandemic, and we don't plan on doing so anytime soon. We are very fortunate. We're very blessed to be on property that we own. to have a business that has the history of 40 years of serving the wonderful citizens of Kansas City and their families. And Manny and Vivian Lopez, who are my parents, have established such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful business for my sisters and I to take care of. You know, the carry out, it was a definite adjustment, not just for our family and for our business, but for all restaurants across, you know, really nationally, you know.
Absolutely.
And wonderful things such as, you know, Chow Now and DoorDash and Uber Eats and Grubhub and all the other wonderful, you know, avenues that allow you to connect with your customers, you know, via the web. You know, those things are wonderful and they have a beautiful purpose, but I'm not really sure if they were intended to have and carry 100% of restaurants' business and how they interact with companies. So there was an adjustment there. There was an adjustment with how we handle our menu. There was an adjustment with how we handle our customers and how we're going to talk to them and communicate with them. And it was really, really important for us to move quickly, to move intelligently, and to move carefully and have control over what it is that we do for our customers. And that is something that my management staff, my kitchen staff, the Lopez's, we did this at a very high level, and we were able to just take care of people who are going through the exact same thing that we were going through.
Yep.
You know, this affected us all, right, on an individual basis. And people need comfort. And when we think of comfort, we think of food. And we are just so blessed here at Manny's Restaurant to have comfort and care and love be synonymous with our food and how we treat people. And people were fantastic to us. It was, I'm almost speechless, to be very honest with you. It was unbelievable how the city responded to us. And it was awesome.
That's so awesome. And so now, so you said, I know you kept the carry out, the curbside going. Can people dine in at this point?
Yes, this is our second week.
Okay.
In capacity, we're excited about it. It's going extremely well. We have a very large restaurant, so
yes.
50% capacity could be something that is a number that I am not comfortable with. And if I'm not comfortable with it, then my staff's not going to be comfortable with it, and our guests aren't going to be comfortable with it. Our family, how we handle this, it's really important to be careful, to be safe, and to be in control. And we're going through about 75 to 80 people with reservations and call-ahead seating about every hour and a half. That's probably the gauge we're going through right now. So it's gone great. It's been great to see smiling faces. It's been great to see people we haven't seen in 9 weeks. And people have been so complimentary, and they're very pleased with the approach that we're taking with safety and with being careful and with protecting not only our employees, but protecting our customers as well. So we've had wonderful compliments, wonderful things said. So far, so good, right? Knock on wood.
Right, knock on wood, knock on wood. Okay, well, that's excellent. So you'll be seeing me soon for my signature order, which is at least one, but who are we kidding? 3 or 4 skinny margaritas. You guys have the best skinny margarita in town. And then I love to get the taco sin carne with shrimp.
It's delicious.
It's so good.
Yummy. Making me hungry.
I'm hungry. Well, David, I'm so glad you're here to give us the scoop on Manny's, which is such a beloved downtown landmark, as you said, for so many of us. I'm curious, too, with your role as vice president in the Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association, can you first kind of just give us an overview of what that group does for the restaurant industry here in Kansas City? And then I'd love to get your thoughts on, you know, how the market is doing in general, and maybe what can we all do to help.
The Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association is something that it's an established association that cares for restaurateurs, whether they are independent, whether they are a part of a big national corporation or corporate group. What we're doing is we're going to unify our restaurants to come together to be informed, to give knowledge, to assist, to do everything we can as an association so that our restaurateurs feel cared for and have the knowledge they need to be successful. And this pandemic and this sickness that has gone through, there's no more of a better example than what it is to be a part of the Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association. We had direct connection with Mayor Quinton Lucas, myself and a few other restaurateurs. We formed a committee. We worked very, very hard with Mayor Quinton Lucas and his staff. We worked with Dr. Archer. We worked with the health department and did everything we could so that we could find a way to be safe, to be careful, and to control our environment so that people would feel comfortable again. And with that hard work comes the ability for all of our members to open up their doors, to have information, to know what they need to do as far as a cleanliness level and how they need to kind of proceed with all three of those elements that I've mentioned being at the forefront. PPP loans, SBA, emergency funding, different things like that. When all this was going down, from a national level to a state level to a local level here in Kansas City, we were doing everything we could to make sure that our people were taken care of, that they were informed, and that they had healthy, safe, and viable avenues to keep their doors open, and probably more importantly than keeping their doors open, to take care of their staff, to take care of their employees. This is not just a huge blow for us and for our industry. This is how, I mean, you're looking at the majority of Americans in this country have served a drink, have served a plate of food, have been in the restaurant industry. This is such a wonderful bridge and a wonderful career and a wonderful profession that allows people to make money while they're going to school. It allows them to have a career and take care of their families. And when that all of a sudden stops and there's no warning, it can be very dangerous and very, very traumatic and hurtful. And our number one goal for our association was to do the best we could for the people that help us take care of this city. So I would tell you that the Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association has been on top of its game. We are doing everything we can, and we're going to continue to do so that people don't feel alone. Because when you go through terrible, terrible times like this, it is extremely easy to feel like you're alone. It's very easy to dehumanize this thing by looking at all the numbers, all the stats, bottom lines, everything that we all have to answer to in the business world. But when you have an organization like the GKCRA, when you have an organization like the Missouri Restaurant Association and the National Restaurant Association, you don't feel alone. You feel protected, cared for, and you feel like you can get through this. And that's something that Father established. Manny Lopez was president of the GKCRA. I will be the president next year.
Excellent.
I think that I'm extremely honored to be a part of, and it's very important to our family.
Wonderful. And David, can we all, as diners, as consumers, as advocates for downtown Kansas City, but for also Kansas City as a whole, especially bars and restaurants, what can we do to keep helping, besides, of course, getting back to the business of dining in or continuing with curbside or carry out, but anything else that we can all do to support the important work that you're doing?
A wonderful way for people to support and a wonderful avenue is buying gift cards to use at a future date. That is something that has just been, I cannot tell you how overwhelmed I've been with people that have called me, called my sisters, and have said to me, I want to buy $1,000 in gift cards.
Oh.
$1,000 in gift cards. And they hand them out to their neighbors. They hand them out to their friends. And I know I'm not the only restaurant that has received this just unbelievably generous and just loving gesture. Kansas City is the greatest place on earth, and it's not because of the Chiefs, it's not because of the Royals, it's not because of the fountains, it's because of the people.
Yep.
The people of Kansas City are what make Kansas City so very, very, very special. And in my heart, when you feel that love and when you feel that juice that people give you because of care, it's awful motivational. And that has been a wonderful gesture that people have made, and they can continue to do so. People just have to feel comfortable. And that's really, really important. It's really important that people do what they feel is best for themselves and for their families. If that's curbside, come and get curbside. If that's coming through our doors, come through our doors. If that's buying a gift card to use when things settle down and they feel more comfortable, please do it. Our industry, and especially in Kansas City, we are doing everything we can to be safe, to be careful, and to take care of our customers.
Yes.
And it's because we have wonderful owners, we have wonderful management, we have wonderful teams that care about not only the people that come through our doors, but the people that we work with. So I think that is something that is very, very important that people need to understand and have faith in.
Absolutely. Well, and I know that we're talking to you at the prime time lunch hour here on Friday. So before we let you go, do you have a couple other favorite downtown spots, bars, or restaurants that you also spend time at?
You know, I love them all.
Right.
And you know, for me, I love Jack Stacks. I think it's just, I love it in the Crossroads. It's so yummy. Everything is delicious. The service is fantastic.
Gorgeous building. Yep.
Whenever I need comfort, I go see my buddy Michael Garozzo at Garozzo. When I need it, when I gotta have my comfort. And it's so funny. They hand me a menu. They know me by now, and they always laugh at me. Why do you look at a menu? I always get the same darn thing every single time I go there. And I love
Which
Garozzo.
is?
Which is the chicken spadini.
Okay.
I got the beef spadini. I got to do it. I have to get the artichoke heart. I got to have that for my appetizer.
Yep.
I got to just rush, and I got to do what I got to do. Lulu's, which is right around the corner.
Yes.
Pad Thai. I mean, drunken noodles. I mean, give me a break. It's just unbelievable. I love my friends at Pierpont's and Hereford House. I go into Pierpont's at Union Station. My wonderful, amazingly talented friend, Mary Holland, who is just absolutely blazing a trail. Mary Holland of Pierpont's and Hereford House and Kim Halloran of Capitol Grill are two women that are absolutely lighting the stage and the road on fire. They are killing it right now. They are extremely successful. I'm proud to say that they're going to be two of my officers when I'm president, and it's just really exciting. So those are just a handful of places. I mean, I could go on and on. I could tell you Town Topic. I could tell you Casey Joe's. I could tell you Gates. I mean, this is my home. This is my town. And we have plenty of options and plenty of wonderful places to choose from, because we got a lot of good people in this city that have chosen to be in our industry, and that love and care shows on a daily basis. So it's very exciting.
This is wonderful. Well, thank you again so much. So glad to be able to help you share such good news, and I hope that you'll be seeing a lot of us here from the Downtown Dish very soon.
And we're going to be doing okay. You know, it's a rough road right now for our industry, and I'd be lying if I told you any different. But we're going to hold on. We're going to rally together with the wonderful people that live in this city, with our beautiful community. We're going to absolutely be okay, and we're going to do it together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
It is an historic day today. It is Juneteenth. We've been talking about this on past episodes. Juneteenth, KC has been doing events throughout the month, but today, June 19th, is the actual day. This is the oldest national commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States. Now, today, Juneteenth, this dates all the way back to 1865. And it was on today, June 19th, that Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed in Galveston, Texas, bringing news that the war had ended and the enslaved were now free. Just to put this in perspective for you, President Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2.5 years earlier. So, Juneteenth has been with us since 1865. It's been here in Kansas City for 40 years. And it's actually Horace M. Peterson III who founded the Black Archives of Mid-America. He brought Juneteenth here to Kansas City, where it has been celebrated every year in 18th and Vine. Now, this year, things are a little different with the pandemic continuing. So, Juneteenth, Kansas City will continue with virtual events. You can find a full schedule at juneteenth-kc.com. We've also put together a list because there are a number of other Juneteenth events happening today and throughout the weekend around Kansas City. So we've put together a list, and we hope to see you out and about. Well, I am so excited to keep this all restaurant edition of the Downtown Dish going. And here with me today, so excited, is Executive Chef at the Majestic, Liz Huffman. Chef Liz, welcome to the Downtown Dish.
Oh, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Liz, let's have a little background. How long have you been with the Majestic?
I started in 2011, and I took over as executive chef in 2012, I think.
Okay, wonderful. And sometimes I feel a little silly asking this question, but I'll ask it. How have the last few weeks been going for you?
Well, it's certainly been challenging.
Right.
I mean, it's good to be welcoming guests back to the restaurant again.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we were at a place where I could bring more of my staff back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hard part is knowing that some folks aren't faring as well as others during this pandemic situation. And takeout, I mean, it was good, but it wasn't going to be a long-term solution for us, for sure. I know other restaurants have had better luck, but it's, I don't know who wants to spend a $50 steak out of a plastic box.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, and I feel like, too, with the Majestic, I mean, the food, of course, is exceptional, but, that wonderful ambiance. I know you're joining us from the Jazz Club right now. And, I mean, to your point, you can't package any of that up. And so I'm glad that you're here, too, because I have been curious. We've talked to some other restaurants on the show, but we haven't really gotten to kind of dive into that fine dining side. Again, people may be going out more for, special occasions or milestones, things like that. But tell us what you're seeing right now, because you were mentioning to me earlier that the Majestic is now open for dine-in for part of the week. Is that correct?
Yes, Wednesday through Saturday, and just for dinner.
Okay. And reservations encouraged or required?
Yes, definitely. So, part of the challenge right now is maintaining levels of sanitation.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to have about 20 minutes in between each table in order to completely sanitize the table, the chairs, things like that before the next guests arrive. We've moved all of the additional tables out of the dining rooms and are basically left with what is considered the safety protocol right now in terms of 6 feet distance and that kind of thing. So, obviously if we have an opening and you're a walk-in, you're more than welcome.
Sure.
But in general, we prefer the reservations so we can make sure everybody's getting in and out as safely as possible.
Well, and that's got to be another challenge too. Again, it's like this good and bad that are together, with the Majestic. I think what everybody loves, especially me, is that incredible, iconic, historic location. But then it inadvertently maybe gives you a little constraints, like you were mentioning, making sure the tables and the seating are the appropriate distance. You've only got so much room, so you've got to work with that. So that had to be tough too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a tall, thin building,
right?
So it's
squeezed in there.
Well,
since you guys have reopened, Chef Liz, what have you seen? People coming back in, people excited to be there. I would feel like they've maybe missed this fine dining void, this chance, especially too. I love the Majestic. To me, it always feels like an escape. And I think a lot of people maybe haven't been able to travel like they normally would. So I feel like restaurants like yours are just even more critical to, help us kind of get out and about. And what are you seeing on your end customer-wise?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think people are glad to get out and into a different kind of environment,
right.
And you're right. I think you step through the doors and you feel like you're kind of in a different place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're definitely seeing that I think people are coming out just to come and have a good meal. And, we've got, we don't have our full bands, but we do have a piano player.
Oh, great.
So they're still getting some live music and that kind of thing. And so, I think that also helps to kind of transport people someplace else. And people haven't heard very much live music right now. So,
yep.
So that's another benefit. So, the middle of the week is a little bit slower, but
Sure.
the weekends are starting to pick up again. And it's great to have folks back in the building.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to ask you this. So a couple weeks ago, we got in the groove of asking all of our guests this, and this is my favorite question. But Liz, I would love to know if you have a couple other favorite downtown restaurants or bars that you're personally looking forward to going back to that you've been missing. Where do you hang out?
Well, I have a real fondness for Le Fou Frog.
Yes.
It's just a great spot. I haven't been in a while, but it's one of my favorite places to go.
Yep.
And then on a more casual side, I really like Harry's Country Club as well.
It's hard for me to say, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plant my flag in the ground today on the Downtown Dish. Harry's Country Club is my favorite bar in Kansas City. Love the vibe, love the jukebox, love the menu.
Yep.
Just love that patio. Well, and that's a good question, Liz. So we've had some other guests on, and we've talked in the last couple of weeks about, the city council's making it a little easier right now to kind of expand into some outdoor seating. But I'm not sure that would be an ideal fit at the Majestic. Is there plans to kind of keep the seating inside as it was pre-pandemic?
Yeah, we really don't have the space right now to go. We have a very narrow storefront,
Mm-hmm.
and it's right on Broadway. We could maybe get 2 tables, So right now, we're pretty much locked into doing indoor dining.
Okay.
We just really don't have it. Yeah.
Okay.
We don't.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's so good to catch up with you. So good to know that the Majestic is reopened. We will spread the word. I definitely need a steak, and I can't get a better one than at the Majestic. So you'll definitely be seeing me soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the invitation. It's really been enjoyable.
Thank you so much, Chef. We'll talk to you soon. Have you had a chance yet to check out Spokes? This is one of my favorite places. For whatever magical reason, it's become kind of my go-to after event spot. But Spokes is awesome because it's part cafe, part bar, part cycle shop. So you can get your bike fixed, you can buy a bike, you can hang out, have a bite to eat, have a drink, whatever you want. They are now reopened at both locations. They're offering dine-in. They also have some sidewalk seating. Those locations are at 929 Walnut, right in the heart of the Central Business District, and then over at 1200 Washington, Suite B in the Quality Hill neighborhood. Definitely check them out, spokeskc.com, to get full hours, menus, whatever you need. Pro tip, try the breakfast burrito. Okay, friends, this is a big deal. We are closing out our guests on this week's show with a very good Twitter friend of mine. We have not yet met in real life, but that's going to change very soon. I'm so glad to have Sig Tomeldan, a 5-year downtown resident, on the show. Sig, how are you?
I'm doing great, Katie.
And you are coming to us live from a restaurant.
Yes, I am at Charisse French Restaurant here in downtown KCMO, and not too far from the Power and Light District.
Awesome. Well, and as we noted this week on the show, all those restaurants there in the Commerce Arcade at 1000 Walnut are open. So Charisse is one of those. Sig, I'm so glad to have you on. We've been talking all restaurants this week so far. And I love following you. You have such a wonderful online presence on Twitter and Instagram and are such a wonderful advocate for downtown. Tell us how the last few weeks have been, and I feel like you're getting out and about more. How's it been as someone living in downtown Kansas City during the pandemic?
Yeah, well, thank you, Katie. Yeah, it's been an unusual experience in the 5 years that I've lived down here. This is the first time that I've ever seen downtown shut down the way it has. It's this. They say that this is not only a black swan event, but also a once in a lifetime type event. The last major pandemic being in 1918 with the Spanish flu. But the way I witnessed it was actually during the second day of the NCAA tournament. There were, literally thousands of people that were out and about in downtown, especially in the Power Line District. But then when the NCAA decided to close things down and the city gave the stay-at-home order, just within less than 24 hours, the city had emptied out. Restaurants started to close, and I've never seen anything like it. As far as the last 2 weeks have been, life in the new normal has started to reemerge. I started seeing a lot coffee shops being the first ones to open, places such as Messenger Coffee and PT's Coffee being some of the first to have people return and dine in their establishments. And then, yesterday the KC Live Block opened up and was able to dine out in the live area where they have patio and picnic table seating now.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it's been a nice change. And, other restaurants as well as in, City Market, have started opening up as well, Brown and Lowe's and Bowling's and that sort of thing. So slowly but surely, the city is starting to reopen, and it's nice. I'm glad to see it, and it looks like they're doing it responsibly. There aren't, mass crowds like there would be, like, today being, an average, what would normally be a busy day. It's not swarming with the normal crowds, but still, it's open. They have, tables spaced out according to the ordinances, and, practicing social distancing, staff wearing masks and that sort of thing. But it's happening. It's slowly but surely.
Well, and I love that you are just so generous with the pictures that you share. I feel like you're out downtown strolling almost every day. It feels like every day. Have you noticed too, like, I know one of the things we've talked about here on the show that we're so excited about is the city council making it a little easier to have some of those expanded outside seating. I know I've noticed it there in Power and Light on 14th Street. Have you noticed that too, just kind of walking around, more outdoor options?
Yeah, in the previous week, I noticed, outdoor seating in 14th Street, places like, Bristol's, and it looks like people are taking advantage of it, especially on the weekends, and it's nice that there is live entertainment so that it helps kind of fill the void. In the past, that street has been fantastic, and it's been a great backdrop for places such as the Urbana KC First Friday events and that sort of thing, where normally people would be swarming around for First Friday, as well as dining out, and they would have like things like outdoor games and that sort of thing. But it looks like they're doing it responsibly, and they're having everyone spaced out, adhering to social distancing guidelines. So
Absolutely.
It's been great.
Well, and Sig, I want to ask you too, because again, I feel like you do such a wonderful job. You're out, you're walking, you're taking pictures, and I feel like you really just appreciate the city, the architecture, just walking around. So maybe as people are still a little hesitant, and of course that makes sense to maybe go into a lot of places, what we're also trying to mention on the show is downtown is full of public art and other opportunities. Art in the Loop is up and running. Any advice to people on just maybe coming downtown, spending a little time, just really soaking in a different neighborhood or different block or something like that?
Sure, absolutely. I will say that something that I've noticed in the later hours, usually after sunset, there have been a number of individuals that are coming in from the suburbs who take advantage of the bird and the various other scooters and for
yep.
rent transportation, and so that they seem to be taking advantage of those different modes of transportation and going around Main Street and Grand. And I don't know if they're taking in the artwork, but my advice is to them that definitely make a stop by the different Casey streetcar stops and check
Yep.
out the artwork. It's definitely worth it. I know the Casey streetcar has limited hours now, of course, because of the pandemic still, but still with the different modes of transportation, whether they go by scooter or by foot, definitely check out the artwork along there. And also for those who haven't seen them, different murals throughout the city, that's also something worth seeing, especially now while all the other local museums are still closed. So it's definitely worth it. And I think it's nice, especially now that the weather's warmer and it's a good experience.
Yeah. I took myself out Saturday. I was on a little adventure, and I was going from Power and Light down to Crossroads. I wanted to immerse myself into Art Alley for a little while and check out some things. And I walked past a group of those scooters just parked, and I was tempted, but I'm so scared. I'm afraid I'm going to fall on my face and just injure myself very severely, so I just walked.
Oh, understood. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
But yes,
I mostly walk myself, so it's all good.
Yeah, if you are not as clumsy as me, take the scooters for sure, take the bus, whatever you want. Sig, I want to ask too, again, you've been out and about, love it, love seeing your pictures. We'll put your social media contact information here, so maybe if people want to connect with you, but any particular, I know this is going to be tough, but any particular favorite downtown restaurants that you've either been able to revisit now that reopening is happening, or that you're looking forward to getting back to?
That is a tough one, because there is one thing I love about living in downtown is that there's such a diverse set of restaurants, varying by culture and that sort of thing. But I will say something that's been a nice surprise is the restaurant in the new Lowe's Hotel, especially currently the bar at the Stillwell. The Stillwell restaurant itself hasn't opened up yet, and it's supposedly it will open up around the first week of July. But currently they are doing a limited menu that you can order from the bar, and you can sit out in the terrace patio and have a fantastic view of downtown, especially around sunset. I highly recommend anyone who's downtown, whether even if you just want a drink or maybe some appetizers, it's definitely worth the view, and the prices are fairly reasonable too. And of course there's the traditional favorites such as Percheron and the Crossroads Hotel, but I will say that the bar at the Stillwell and our terrace patio is fantastic.
Absolutely. And I think you and I, were we talking about Bowlings the other week? I think we both are big fans of Bowlings, and they're back open, I saw. That's
right. And they've updated their menu, their dine-in menu since before the pandemic, and now they're actually including a few dim sum items that they would normally serve at their Plaza location or off of 91st and Metcalf, which is the only two that currently do weekend dim sum. But I am glad to see that other locations, such as the City Market location, you can get a few dim sum items, especially if you just want to fix.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you're living right in the heart of downtown, so I'm sure it's been wonderful too that we have had that Costantino's grocery store. Where have you been using that recently, or even before the pandemic?
Oh yeah, absolutely. As a resident of One Light, there is a connecting tunnel where I literally don't have to step outside of the building, so I can go to Costantino's, and which came in really handy, especially during the winter that we had a year ago, which never seemed to. And so it's been nice. Of course they have their restrictions in place because of the pandemic, and everyone wears a mask, and they restricted their dine-in for a while, and but they're slowly restoring some of their services. Now there are a few tables available where if you want to get some food from their prepared food section, you can do that, sushi and whatnot. But Constantino's has been it's been a blessing in the city. So I mean, I don't have to worry about commuting anywhere. Not, I've been telecommuting for about a year and a half, but just having that place right there, especially now during the pandemic, it's been great.
Awesome. Okay, one last question before we let you go. What are you planning on eating at Charisse?
Well, while we were talking, I went ahead and ordered the escargot, mussels provençal, and I am waiting for the main menu to get here. I'm kind of torn either between, maybe something like a beef bourguignon or rack of lamb, or I thought I saw a fish on the menu, but I'll wait for them to bring the main menu over to me. So.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying not to drool on myself. Well, thank you so much. This has been
Absolutely.
a pleasure, and I know we have plans to meet over drinks. Cheers to you, my friends.
Cheers.
So we will be looking forward to having you back on the Downtown Dish. Enjoy your meal, and thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you. Looking forward to it, Katie.
Good news, the reopenings are continuing in downtown Kansas City, and this week the Commerce Arcade at 1000 Walnut Street reopened several restaurants. These include Charisse, Debbie's Kitchen, Espresso a la carte, and one of my favorites from when I worked full-time downtown, Neo Delicatessen. Seriously, try the grilled chicken wrap. Now, all 4 of these restaurants are reopened. It's best to connect with them online or on social media to stay up to date with any hours that might change, menu updates, and much more. And that brings us to the end of another episode of the Downtown Dish. Thank you so much for being here with us this week. Please come back next week, Friday at noon. Got a big surprise I'm going to go ahead and let you in on. It's going to be our first Downtown Dish interview on location, coming to you right from downtown Kansas City. All I'm going to tell you right now is I'm going to be in the Crossroads. So I'll let you figure out where that might be. If you have a guess, hit me up on social media at Katie Wrights. Use our hashtag DowntownDishKC. Gonna go ahead and pop up that list of local Juneteenth events for you again. Lots happening today and this weekend, so gather your friends, gather your family, both in person and virtual events, whatever you feel comfortable at. But let's celebrate this historic occasion together. And in the meantime, I'm gonna go finish off this wine slushie. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here next week.